morning, friends, and welcome to Voices of Valor here on KURE-LP 106.1 FM in Eloy, Arizona. If you'd like us to cover a topic or have a question, you can call us or email us at Voices of Valor Radio, that's Voices of Valor Radio, all one word, at gmail.com. I'm your host, Dr. J, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in advocacy, Ms. Heather Hanukkah, here on Voices of Valor.
Voices of Valor, Dr. J.
That's it, America.
You did.
Oh, that's funny. Our mission is simple: to inform, inspire, and support veterans and their families throughout Pinal County by bringing you important resources, meaningful conversations, and stories that deserve to be heard. Heather, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dr. J, and good morning to all of our veterans, military families, caregivers, and community members joining us today. Whether you served in uniform, supported someone who did, or simply want to learn more about the people behind the service, we're glad you're spending part of your morning with us. Today we're talking about something that really makes my blood boil: the scammers, con artists, and criminals who target veterans to steal their hard-earned benefits and savings. Joining us today is a special guest who will help us expose the tactics these scammers use, explain the warning signs to watch for, and share practical ways you can protect yourself and your loved ones. But before we dive into that important conversation, let's get you caught up with the latest VA policy updates. We've got 3 updates today. The first one involves a proposal in Congress that's generating a lot of discussion among veterans organizations. Some lawmakers are considering legislation that, according to several national veteran service organizations, could reduce disability compensation for certain veterans as part of a broader funding package for other veterans programs. It is important to note that nothing has changed yet. This proposal is still being debated and no new law has been passed. Organizations including the VFW and the DAV, now I'm talking like you, Dr. J, are encouraging veterans to stay informed as Congress continues its work.
As always, we'll continue following this issue closely and bring you verified information if anything changes. Until legislation is signed into law, your current VA disability benefits remain the same.
Our second update is good news for veterans looking to enter the civilian workforce. The White House recently announced plans to make it easier for veterans with qualifying military driving experience to obtain a commercial driver's license, or CDL. The goal is to help veterans transition more quickly into high-demand trucking and transportation careers by recognizing the skills they gained while serving. The details are still being finalized, but it's another example of efforts to reduce barriers between military service and civilian employment.
And finally, the Department of Veteran Affairs has released updated guidance for schools administering GI Bill education benefits. These are primarily administrative updates for colleges and universities rather than changes to veteran benefits themselves. If you are currently using the GI Bill, it's always a good idea to stay in touch with your school's VA certifying officials to ensure that your enrollment and benefits remain on track.
And as always, if you're unsure whether a policy update affects you, don't rely solely on social media. Reach out to your local VA office or an accredited veteran service organization for accurate guidance.
We'll continue monitoring these developments and bringing you the information that matters most to you, service members, other service members, and their families.
So knowing your benefits is one way to protect yourself, and knowing how criminals try to steal them is another. Before we introduce today's guest, let's meet the enemy. These criminals aren't operating out of someone's basement, sending a few random emails anymore. They're organized, sophisticated, and they're making billions of dollars every year by exploiting trust, fear, and technology. The numbers are really eye-opening. Some statistics on scams: Americans lost over $16.6 billion to internet crime in 2024, and that's according to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3. They had nearly 860,000 complaints were filed with the FBI in 2024, and that's more than one complaint every minute. The next statistic is especially important for our veterans community because many veterans fall into this group. Seniors 60 plus are losing, they reportedly lost nearly $5 billion in 2024 to internet crime. And criminals often target older adults because they may have retirement savings, home equity, pensions, or earned veteran benefits, making them an attractive target for fraud. Investment scams are now the biggest moneymaker for criminals, and the FBI reports investment fraud accounted for over $6.5 billion in losses during 2024. And before we go any further, you may hear us use the term phishing today. That's phishing, P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, like fishing, but with a P-H. It's a type of scam where criminals pretend to be someone you trust, like your bank, the VA, Amazon, or even a family member, to trick you into giving away your personal information, passwords, or money. And the last thing is that based on fraud, according to the Federal Trade Commission, Americans reported $12.5 billion in fraud losses in 2024.
Now, you may be asking this question, are scams getting worse? Absolutely. The trend over the past 5 years has been steadily upward. In 2020, it was 4.2 billion. I won't go through all of the numbers, but it was 4.2 billion. The last data, the full data we have was 2024, and it was close to 17 billion. That's a 4 times increase. And if we judge by any of the circumstances that it seems happen when we talk to people, there's still more this year. There'll be more this year by far than last year.
Ron, welcome to Voices of Valor. I would like for you to take a moment and tell us about yourself, your background in dealing with scams, fraud, and cybersecurity, and also what's the difference between a scam and a hack?
Good morning. Well, I moved here to Arizona 5 years ago from the state of Oregon. I served in the Army during the Vietnam era, and I was at Fort McClellan, Alabama. And I think we all need to understand these hacks, as you said, and scams. I was very grateful to the military because they gave me a phenomenal education. So anyone that's still in the service, please access all the educational benefits while you're in, you can. And certainly afterwards, you want to take advantage of the GI Bill. So we need to understand that this hacking and scamming is not just a side hustle. This is a intensifying industry. And what makes these attacks so insidious? Why are veterans so susceptible? These are the questions that I hope we can help answer today.
So I said that, and you have more experience with this than I am, but in your personal experience, are scams really becoming more common, or are we just hearing a lot more about them?
Oh, absolutely. The proliferation is increasing, and I think it's due to the vast number of databases and data brokers, social media sites, the access and the tools that scammers use for these attacks are widely available, and they are becoming more sophisticated. Oftentimes they'll take an AI scam and they will hack it to where it works for them.
I just got an email yesterday just talking about them becoming more common. I got one yesterday from the Veterans Benefit Administration warning of scam alert. Veterans, be alert for this new scam. And it's this huge, I know our listeners can't see it, but every day it seems like I'm getting a new email from somebody saying be aware of this that's coming out. Ron, why would you say, I know I said a little bit about it, but why would you say that veterans and older Americans are such attractive targets right now?
Well, I think you broached on one topic of it, and that's that we as veterans are looking for benefits. And so we're searching through various programs and policies, and we go online, we chat with other people who may have found a benefit. And I think that makes us more vulnerable because we're out there. And we have to understand, I think, the impulse that single out veterans. We're looking for deals and discounts. We're looking for educational, financial, and medical assistance online and in various communities. And sadly, veterans and their families have suffered increased financial losses, as you said, due to imposter scams, costing service members and veterans and their families massive amounts annually. So much so that the VA actively warns against these evolving threats, and that's exactly what you saw in that email. So there's actually a House bill, I'll talk about that in another segment, but we're trying to eliminate the data that's available on us. And as you saw, you spoke earlier offline about AI hacking and AI problems on even social media like Facebook. Every one of these social media programs has an AI supplement to it. So it's really frightening.
So that's, I think I'm leading into a question there. 20 years ago, most scams were simple telephone fraud. So it seems like they're more sophisticated today. What's the big change?
What's changed is that little device we have in our hands. I mean, since 2009, it's just insane. And I think what's helpful here is to, as you said earlier, Heather, to go through the types of scams, because the list changes all the time. And I think just getting a vocabulary, a glossary of these current plans and scams is probably helpful for us. So spoofing, we kind of all know what spoofing is.
That's when you kid somebody, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The little, what was that? The little bean game you played with the walnut shells? Someone sends you something, just one letter off. You ever notice that in your email? And your eyes are so fast that you see these things, and you go into it just without really thinking, because we're busy. And then we have phishing, which you said earlier, which is PHISNG. And one of the things that these messages look for is something that looks legitimate. We get this flood of messages, as I said, and your inbox fools you into thinking that something appears legitimate and that you need to verify or update that information because
Right now.
And you're likely to give a counterfeit, a fake website, and to make the list even worse for yourself. Phishing has also several types. We have vishing, which comes over the phone, so V for verbal. And then we have smishing, which is a scam that comes over SMS text, which, depending upon the device and the platform you're on, the type of messages you get are different. And then we have farming, which is PHAL.
Wow.
And that's a malicious code installed in a program to redirect you to a site. So these are just some of the things that we have to be aware of. I don't think we all need to be experts, but just track along with what's happening.
So when we're talking about scams, what psychological tricks do scammers use to convince intelligent people, because intelligent people get scammed every day, to give their money away or personal information?
I'm just trying to jump in there. That was one thing. I think we said that earlier, but there's a mythology that, I'm too smart to get scammed. And I've come close to getting hacked a couple of times. I wouldn't say I had it, but I was really just ready to press the button.
Yeah, absolutely. Veterans have reportedly become the largest share in a demographic group. So much so that the VA, the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI, even your bank are involved in trying to mitigate and lower these losses. We all know the medium losses are higher in seasonal averages across these different demographics. It's become so prevalent and vicious, as you said, emotionally vicious. The VA, as I said, FTC and the FBI are involved. And you can actually go to your bank, and I did this recently, and find out how the banks are actually trying to orchestrate a task force to eliminate a lot of the scams, not only for government's sake, but also for the banking sake, because we're all losers in this. So instead of grandma or grandpa or widows that get preyed upon, now it's veterans. And so again, the question we're asking and we're trying to alert people is why? Why is this so prevalent? Why is this so horrible? And a younger veteran certainly has a family, most likely, and the consequences are horrific. So indeed, this is a horrific emotional event. I remember back when I was doing computers, systems, and database management, that some of the hard drive companies actually had suicide hotlines because people would lose all of their data on a hard drive, and it's catastrophic. So we talk about backups now, and we make backups for that very reason, but we don't really have too many backups for our scams and our financial situations, and I hope that's what we can encourage people to do today.
Let's see, so you worked with many victims. What are, and as well as veterans, I know you've been very active with veterans, what is the biggest misconception people have about who gets scammed?
Well, we've often heard about seniors and widows, as I said, and we often hear about grandparents getting scammed or robbed. And they're such a proud group in our society, right? Grandma and grandpa are proud of their grandkids. And so they're probably going to post more about their family online than they really should. So, and you know, we know their generation is just apt to trust a stranger, and that's not a derogatory thing. It's just showing the dynamic changes in our society. And perhaps they're a little less familiar with the technology that we have today. So they will click on unknown links. My father was a brilliant man, but he used to tell me about some of the emails and scams he got. I said, don't touch it, Dad. So my branch manager at a bank, this is what I wanted to tell you, has told me an insider secret, and I found out he really wasn't supposed to tell me this, that banks are now using algorithms to track what you're doing. So if something comes, they're very quick to shut it down. And I can tell you a story of how that happened. So grandparents joke about having their grandkids fix their computers, but we need more help than just grandkids helping us fix our computers.
By the way, you mentioned scams, but you didn't define that for us. Would you tell the audience what the difference between a scam and a phishing attack is? You defined phishing, I thought, very well. I was very clear to understand. What would you call as a typical scam?
Well, I would say, originally you'd ask me what's the difference between a scam and a hoax, but a scam is a trickery that someone's playing.
Deception and psychological manipulation.
Yeah. Whereas somebody who comes in and hacks your computer or hoaxes you, that person probably has far more skill and ability to manipulate the technology.
Okay.
A scammer probably doesn't. Their interest is punching quick, getting in and getting out and taking your money, and they have no heart, no consequence about that.
So if I uses persuasion and the hack uses technology.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I always tell people, if they're rushing you, man, that's a red flag.
Absolutely.
Do not be rushed.
Well, the interesting thing I think about it is the one I was thinking of as a typical example of a scam. This goes back probably 100 years, but selling somebody the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder how many times people actually bought the Brooklyn Bridge. I wonder if that ever happened. What do you think? You were from New York, weren't you, too?
No, my father and my grandfather.
Oh, they were? Okay,
yeah.
So you never bought the Brooklyn Bridge?
Yeah. Well, veterans are reportedly a very large part of this financial scam, unfortunately, so much so that it set triggers in our society. Again, some of the largest shares of fraud losses come from this median group, more so than the national average, you might say. And these have risen to the point where lawmakers want to shut the door on the possibility of contractors, right, using veterans' data from the Department of VA. And the VA wants to stop any illicit uses of this data, so much so that the House has a House bill, H.R. 7280, called the VA Data Act. And if I could encourage you to do anything, is let your legislators know that you support that act.
What was that? VA?
It's House Bill H.R. 7280.
We'll put that on maybe our website.
And it's called the VA Data Act.
VA data.
So
What is good about this act for a veteran?
Well, like banks and the VA and other government agencies, oftentimes they'll hire outside contractors to come in and manipulate their data. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier, Heather, was the VA going through a program where they have tried to regain and shut down scammers, people who are scamming the VA and taking benefits illegally. And so that's a major thing. And so we need to encourage veterans to watch it carefully, make sure that our benefits are not taken away by some errant algorithm in this program that they're using.
Ron, can you tell us, do you have any clear idea what scams specifically target veterans? I can tell you which one I get every day. I have 15 voicemails on my phone right now because I get calls all day, every day of somebody trying to give me a loan that I have not applied for. They call and tell me, you have been approved for this amount of money and you're wasting time. Like you only have a minute to agree to this. But are there any other ones that you know of that are targeting veterans specifically?
Wait, Dr. May I jump in? Do you think they're targeting you because they knew you were a veteran?
I don't know. That's just what I just mean as a veteran, that's the one that I see the most.
Well, that's a good point. I'd like you to answer Heather's question, but let me tag on to that. Can they tell a veteran from a non-veteran? Do they have ways of doing that?
Yeah, because the data has been breached. A lot of us don't understand that some 280 million records have been breached in the United States databases. So where are those records?
They know everything about us is what you're telling us.
Yeah. I learned a very important lesson. I was trying to get insurance. I had wrecked my 2004 BMW Z4 and I bought another one because they totaled it. And so I'm looking for insurance because my insurance company raised my rate. So I'm plowing through late at night, calling different agents, trying to find a decent rate, more so than what I had currently. And finally, one of the gals from Progressive said to me, you know, Ron, I'm not supposed to tell you this. This is late at night, so she probably figured the voice wouldn't be, because they're all recorded. There's an agency called LexisNexis, and you need to go on that because LexisNexis is telling me you're a liar, that you had an accident. I said, no, I had a road hazard. I did not have an accident. And my insurance company assured me that I would not be branded as having a at-fault accident. So I ordered the LexisNexis data. It was 82 pages.
Just for you?
Just for me.
Wow.
Now, I downloaded the other day my credit report, and that was only 21 pages. So where's the other 60 pages of information? It had everything.
Wow.
I kid you not. So that's the kind of database things that we face today. And so purging that and forcing them, it's a little different than getting TransUnion or Experian or Equifax to clear your account. LexisNexis is what a lawyer would use or what insurance companies use because they get everything. So that's one database that I'm afraid of.
Did you get your question answered? Because I jumped in.
Specific scams targeting veterans.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with helping you get a disability. There's kind of an interesting thing. There's telemarketers and brokers who work for lawyers, right? So you have this 3-step process, and they're trying to bring you in. This telemarketer is calling you, and they're not reputable people necessarily because they don't work for the law firm. They work for a broker. So it's data brokerages that we really have to worry about. And I encourage everyone to go to a firm that will help you clear out your data files.
I guess I was thinking about this, and I know this is a little bit frivolous, but I was thinking, would you send me those 82 pages? I will program into my chat program, and she can write a biography of you, and we can maybe publish it.
I'll send you mine, and you can write mine, Dr.
You mean things my mother didn't know?
Yeah, I mean, you've got 82 pages. That sounds like a good biography.
Y'all be careful, my mama's listening. Let's not talk about it.
Okay, so we hear about Medicare, VA, IRS, Internal Revenue Service, so I'm not too happy with these days. Don't get me started on that.
We know.
Romance, investment, and contractor scams. Which ones concern you the most today, Ron?
Well, my fright comes from the rise of AI as a tool used by these nefarious thieves. In both scams and hacks, I'll give you an example. My friend Dan has a podcast that he does, and he was telling me about a call that his friend got concerning a ransom call concerning his friend's niece. And that call came from, apparently, his niece's phone. So the caller ID had her phone number.
Jesus.
The caller said that he had Dan's friend's daughter or niece, and his friend said that he knew that his niece was not home. So it alerted him, right? So this scammer or this ransom person's telling him, do not hang up, don't know, the whole litany, don't alert anybody. Drive to the bank, get me $10,000 and blah, 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 right? So he heard his niece screaming in the background, and he wanted to talk to her. It terrified him. So he had presence of mind. He had a secondary business phone, and he texted his niece, and she was safely at her grandmother's home. So he knew instantly it was a scam. But those are the kinds of things that set his mind completely into chaos. What if these so-called ransom scammers knew where his niece actually was? Right? And the litany of questions in your mind and the terror just became a boil. And so what we're trying to understand is, how can AI be so cruel and pervasive and give us so much information? And these scammers are using it. And I think that Channel 15 up in Phoenix did a story about a wife getting a call from a so-called sheriff. I don't know if you saw that or heard of that. And the sheriff said she had missed jury duty and there was a warrant for her arrest. She looked on LinkedIn, and sure enough, this sheriff was listed on LinkedIn as working for this county, and the phone number on the caller ID matched what she thought would be there. So she did her research.
Wow.
But she said, I need to talk to my husband because they wanted $15,000 instantly bail, this rush concept, which would have wiped out their savings account. So this is the kind of thing that AI is allowing people to do, to search and find, to present you with false security and identity.
Wow.
I know, it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. So what about here in Arizona, we see numerous complaints involving misleading solar contracts. Are there other, I see you laughing about that one. You know it's true. Are there other regional scams that listeners should be watching out for?
Let me jump in. Can I jump in? The solar one, because my neighbor, she called me up the other day, and apparently her company was bought out by another company, something like that. Anyway, very nice woman. Woman's 85, and she's not technologically savvy. She doesn't use a smartphone. She does have a cell phone, but she doesn't use the computer or anything. And she asked me to look into this other company. I looked into this company. I couldn't believe the place was still doing business. They had like 47 lawsuits against this company.
Wow.
Solar contracting company. I was astounded. I mean, I didn't know you could have that many.
That's the ones that come knocking on your door?
No, I don't think so. But this one is in every state, in almost every state.
Wow.
Yeah. As a contractor, I can have some sympathy for the process of doing solar. But last year in 2025, 4 installer companies here in Arizona went bankrupt. Last year, the company that financed my solar panels, Sonova, went bankrupt in January of 2025. The pervasive marketing, it's like these people can't somehow predict the rise in usage. So I have personal experience with solar. Being here in Arizona, I was shocked to learn that I was paying 10 cents a kilowatt hour more than I did in Oregon, where I came from. So the first month I was here, or a few months later, I turned on the heat pump on the pool, and I had the spa at 102, and I had the pool at 82, and it was primo until the electric bill came in December. And my darling wife was a very demure woman, and this little finger came out and she pointed at me because November's bill was $515 and December's was $545, and she said, "You turn that off or you'll be floating face down in the pool." So here's the problem. When Sonova went bankrupt, the trustee let the accounts go to a company called Sunstrong Management. And so the thing that frightened me the most is all of a sudden I'm getting all these calls from solar exit companies, lawyers supposedly, wanting to help you exit your account. And what I learned was these are, again, telemarketers working for a broker who's working for a law firm, right? So we'll help you get out of that. But okay, how are you going to do that? You're going to pay us $7,000 and we'll get you out of that. And I find out these law firms are the same law firms that worked for people that were in timeshares. So they have experience getting people out. But nonetheless, it just seemed like with all the losses I've had, you want me to spend another $7,000? It's like, hello.
Wow.
And so what warning signs immediately make you suspicious?
Anytime somebody says you gotta do it now, today's your, the rush is absolute clue number one. And I would say probably secondary to that, if you didn't anticipate the call, it's probably a scam.
And if you're going to get a job and they want you to pay for your welcome kit, that is a scam. Like, you don't pay for things to go unless you're buying yourself a uniform because they're not included. Like, I wish people would.
What is that one? I never heard of that one.
I have people get text messages all the time with a job for data entry making $35 an hour. You meet our qualification, call right now. And then when they call, they say, "Will you send me $99 for your welcome kit and we'll get you started?" And they're just like, and we've actually had people do that.
They need a job.
Exactly. They need a
Yes.
job and they think that it's real and they're going to be making $35 an hour, and they give up their $100 and all of their personal information and still have no job. So I just want people to know that's the thing. You don't pay for welcome kits to a job.
Well, my roommate is a double PhD. He worked for Lucid, and we know how that went. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
no, nothing against Lucid. So the situation, he's looking for work, and so he's experiencing those same things, and he and I went over that yesterday. You have all of these recruiters, so-called, who are absolutely scammers. They will do the welcome kit, and then they'll charge you money for a background check, and on and on and on. And so they're just bleeding money out of you because they know you're desperate. So my encouragement to him was, BJ, go look online for the company you want to work for and use the AI to your advantage. Who works for the company you want to work for? How many people, and ChatGPT or these AI programs will tell you. I showed him. It gave him a list of all the companies he wanted to work for, who had hired a new database manager, what contract companies they had hired. All of that's all public information. It's terrifying. But at the same time, make it work for you. So that was my encouragement to him. And tell people to stay away from these online unsolicited recruiters, because I guarantee you probably 80-90% of them are nothing but scams.
So we're talking about artificial intelligence and how it's made phone scams so much more convincing. Tell me a couple of things. How concerned should veterans be? What should people never do when they receive those phone calls? Should they click on the links in the text messages? Like, tell us a little bit about what you think about the phone scams and how to avoid them.
I have 7, all right? I'm going to write them down.
Oh, 7.
Here we go. Get your pen out.
An unexpected contact from a loved one you haven't heard from in a long time. That's been gleaned from AI. 2, claims your computer is compromised, which we all know how that one works.
You get that every day.
The pressure demands for immediate action. Boy, that's a terrifying red flag.
The speed thing, you got to do it now.
Yeah. and requests that you have to pay a fine. I don't know if you remember how many people in Arizona were getting toll fines. Is there a toll road in Arizona? I don't think there is. And I haven't been out of Arizona in 5 years, so I know I'm not guilty of that one.
I just talked to somebody this morning who was talking about, we went to New York and the next thing I know, I'm getting all these toll bills in the mail and I tried to pay them and they called and they're like, this is a scam, dummy. And I was like, it just happened.
Obviously, as this lady up in Phoenix area claims that you have a warrant for your arrest.
That's 5? Is that the 5th one?
Yeah.
The warrant.
Request to click a link or talk to a supervisor. Sometimes you get handed off when you get these scammer calls. Just a minute. This person is a little more aware of what's going on. Let me have you talk to somebody, higher than me. And that's an automatic flag that you're being handled. You're being managed. Or you download a software. And then sometimes they want you to, like these employment, want you to send a copy of your driver's license and your passport. Never, ever, ever send anybody pictures of your ID. I'm sorry. It's just off the chart.
Suicide, man. Heather, were you going to ask that one about the fake websites?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the reason I want to mention that one, that actually happened to a good friend of mine who's PhD in physics. Now, this man, I don't want to mention his name, he's got a PhD in physics, and he works for Los Alamos. He goes all the time around the world consulting in physics. I mean, you think of a guy with physics, but he's a brainy guy, and he loves these Echo shoes. So he decided to buy a pair of them. They're like $200. One of these fancy Earth shoes, I don't know. So he decided to go online and order a pair. So he ordered a pair online, went to the website, and a couple of weeks went by, turns into a month went by, and he didn't get the shoes. He's out $300-400. Well, where's my money? So he goes onto their website, and he gets a customer service number, and they calls him up, and they say, we don't have any order for you. And he said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, he said, I ordered it on your site. He said, and they said, and this is exactly what they told him. Well, there's been rumors that people have been imitating our site, and then they take the site down. So he said, well, you should be responsible. He said, and they told him, tough luck.
Right.
Basically, they told the guy, tough luck. And this guy's been buying shoes from this company for years. He ain't buying any more of these fancy Earth shoes.
But it's really not their fault. How can he hold them responsible because somebody else
Well,
chose
like Ron said, it was maybe like one letter difference. So the question is, how do you tell? I know the other thing that happens is if you want to buy a concert ticket. Yeah, you've had that experience, right? There are so many places selling a concert ticket. And if you go directly to the site, like you go to the Mesa Performing Arts Center, you maybe get the ticket for $50, but you find 20 or 30 places selling the tickets for like $200.
You mean ticket smashers?
Yeah. But I mean, I couldn't believe all these. What, are they all legitimate?
No.
So how do you tell a fake site from a real site?
Again, in our busy, harried lives, we have to take a few moments sometimes and just validate everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It's just the way it is
Check it
now.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's like, how would you know that you didn't have a fake Uber when you called?
That's a good question. That's a good question. The guy looks like a fake Uber driver, right?
Well, they have those little neon
Yeah.
signs in the window.
So if someone believes they have been scammed financially, what should be their very first action?
Oh, let's see. I would say, here's the problem that I see with a lot of people. When you have a text message or a voicemail or a scam, you want to keep it. It's evidence, and our instinct is delete it or block it. And so you don't have any proof. So you need to go to the bank and let the bank know. And that's back to Heather's thing about the emotional conflict is, oh my God, especially if you're a senior, you don't want your family or your friends or anyone to know that you got hacked or scammed.
That's right.
It's like, because we're afraid we'll lose control of what finances we have left, right? So the banks, we kind of know the banks have a program to try to look out for seniors. And so they're very apt to shut you down and close your account just for their safety's sake. So that's a big clue. But the FTC, the FBI, those places have active task force working on that. And some of it's so bad that the Secret Service gets involved to try to redeem the monies that have been stolen.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question that maybe I think deserves to be asked, although it's not going to make too many people happy. I suspect your answer isn't. But let's be honest now. What's your chance of getting any money back if you get SCREWED?
Honestly, it's not good, but the quicker you react and let someone know, the faster it can be stopped, because the way the Federal Reserve and our banking system works, if you get people active in it quick enough, they can redeem the money sometimes. But again, part of the problem is that we get scammed and we sit back and have a cup of coffee, or we go to the bathroom and we sit on the Johnny Hooper and we meditate and contemplate, what am I going to do now? Instead of actively, quickly trying to stop it. So it's a tough one.
How often should people be reviewing their bank and credit card statements?
I tell people all the time, I have my phone and my watch set up on both of my accounts. So what's interesting is when I make a purchase, I sometimes get alerted on my phone or my watch before the merchant can even push the button that says print the receipt. That's highly attractive to me because I want to know. I want to track my purchases, who hit my bank account for what, when, and where.
Right.
And so I encourage people to do that. We have the phones in our hands, and the banks are more than willing to let you have active things. And checking your bank account, making sure that your statement's there. And part of the problem is with auto pays, we just don't check. And so, you know, I had an insurance situation where I had $185, I think, a month that came out. Well, somebody hit it and it was $485, right? Because if you look at the 10 key, 4 is above 1. So if I hadn't checked my bank account, you know, the insurance company was fat $300 off my generosity.
Right.
No, I'm not doing that. So I really encourage people to reduce the number of auto pays because people make mistakes.
So you're saying stop being lazy. That's what I just heard, because I do it for laziness. So I think I'm setting myself up for failure because I don't want to take the time to go out and pay it every single month.
Well, there was a gentleman who passed away in Brooklyn, and he had everything in his household set up on auto pay. The postman actually called the police to do a welfare check because the smell about 10 months after the man had passed was unbearable. And you wonder why the neighbors didn't call. So, but auto pays just kept paying his rent, paying the light bill, and you know, so I guess he was blessed and he had some money coming in automatically, and it wasn't from Social Security.
Well, you know, this question was on passwords, but passwords, I think we've had passwords, and then we have two-step authentication, and now they got passcodes. And so this gets confusing.
And a passphrase. Don't
Oh,
forget
my
about
God.
a passphrase now.
So I might be hitting you with something you weren't prepared to answer, but if you could give us the difference between, for the audience, a password and a passcode, and what's the safest way to protect your site?
Well, that's culminating because of social media and banks. The whole debate and rage, we don't realize how much money Yahoo or Gmail or these different email accounts pay, or banks, from people who forget their password, right? So when my wife passed away 4 years ago in February, in March, I lost track of, my brain was scrambled. I had to reset my passwords 9 times in 1 month because I just couldn't remember, right? So now the banks have come around, and the programmers, we have to stop cuddling or helping people who can't remember their password, right? Okay. So now we're going to two-factor identification. So you put your password in, because a lot of us have password managers on our devices. So then they came up with a passcode and passphrases. So my bank, when I call in, actually has a thing where I speak into the telephone if I'm making a phone call inquiry. And then it'll go, oh, okay, Ron, you've been verified, which is kind of comforting in a way. But again, it goes back to, is my conversation on my phone encrypted to where somebody can't access what I just did? Because all AI needs to get a hold of is that situation. I don't know if you guys ever watched Joe Rogan or not, but he had this gentleman on who's supposedly a mind reader. And he told Joe Rogan his 4-digit PIN number on his credit card. Then he was at the White House at that White House press secretary meal, and he's standing between Melania Trump and Caroline, and Caroline was expecting, and he told her the name of her baby that she hadn't told anyone. And so we look at that and we go, huh, is he truly this magical clairvoyant, or does he have some technique that we don't know about? So those are concerns that we have. So monitoring what we say, what we do, buyer beware, I guess they say.
We've talked about a lot today, a lot in a short time, and we're going to do a part 2 to this show as well, just because there's so much more to be discussed, and we have an hour. So I know you talked about the 5 rules, the 5 things. If every veteran listening today remembers only one thing from our conversation, what do you hope that one thing will be?
Shut it down. Do a credit freeze. Freeze your credit with the 3 credit bureaus. Monitor, check, verify. Warn your family. Teach your family and friends. Share the information, because we need to be very cautious about our day-to-day things. There's certain things we say we should go to our grave with.
I'm a little confused on this freeze and credit. I know there's 3 of them, there's Experian and 2 others. But all right, well, let's say I have a Synchrony account at Discount Tire. So I want to go get 4 tires for my truck. They're going to probably run me $1,000, let's say. So I want to put it on my Synchrony account. Now, if my credit cards are, my credits are all frozen, what happens when I go over and I give Discount Tire my credit card and I say, put it on my account? Are they going to say we can't? It's not
Oh, very good. Because it's not a credit freeze on your active, right? It's a credit freeze on someone trying to send you a new credit card. Because if you go to the credit bureau and look at they'll show you a list of inquiries, and we have what we call a hard pull, where you go to Capital One or your bank and you say, I want a new credit card. That's a hard pull, where they actually put your social security number in and pull. But then you have companies that are pulling what we call soft pull. So they'll go to the a vendor will go to a credit bureaus and say, hey, give us a list of people that are between this and this, or this area code or some demographic. And that's a soft pull. That's the credit bureau selling your information for a fee.
So there'd be no downside with me just going into all these credit bureaus and saying, freeze my account?
No. So I freeze mine. If I want to go buy a new car or some new object which involves a loan or some credit action, I go online and I say, unfreeze my account, and I can unfreeze it for an hour or a day and then refreeze it again. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a safety deposit box. You open the box and you lock it again when you're done.
My turn.
AJ?
Okay, Ron, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. One of the biggest lessons, I guess, from today's conversation is that scammers don't care who you are, what kind of degree you have. They're only concerned about what they can take from you. And by the way, I'm going to have this, but I still don't understand why we can't take a bunch of them out and shoot them. Really, seriously. Let's put them out in the public square and just shoot them. Maybe we'd teach some lessons.
You got to catch them first.
No. We can't catch them. But anyway, knowledge is one of the most powerful tools we have. The more we understand how these crooks operate, the harder it becomes for them to succeed.
That's exactly right. We hope today's conversation helps our listeners recognize the warning signs, ask a few more questions, and remember that it's okay to slow down before responding to an unexpected phone call, text, email, or financial request. If today's show prevents even one veteran from becoming a victim, then we've accomplished our mission. And speaking of helping veterans, let's take a few minutes to share some upcoming events and resources happening right here in our community.
Now, we give you these every week. We kind of divide them into two categories. One is what we call recurring events, local coffee shop meetings. The DAV Coolidge has a coffee group that meets starting at 8 a.m. every, I skipped the day on that. What's that? Anybody know exactly? DAV has a coffee group that meets starting at 8.
Oh, it's Tuesday today.
Tuesday, thank you.
Mhm.
And then, just for the record, there's a nice DAV museum every Monday and Friday. It's open to veterans, and visitors, every Monday and Friday. And HOHP, that's on 100 Parks Avenue, that's in Casa Grande. And it has a Cup of Joe Veterans Coffee Club starting at 8 a.m.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesdays. And it's more than just coffee. It's a good selection of donuts, and frequently people bring in some food.
They have a potluck on the first Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday, thank you. There's guitar lessons every Tuesday at 10 a.m. There's an Eagle Shadow Motorcycle Club Riders meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month. They invite riders, any bikes, don't care. And every Thursday, there's a PTSD support group, 8 to 9:30 a.m. And then, I keep saying this, but I'm not sure if it's still going on, but Disabled American Veterans Rep Robin Roll is available every Tuesday and fourth Thursday at the Eloy Veterans Center to help with a wide range of veterans issues. He's a CSO, and his number, if you wanted to make an appointment with him, is 520-494-3283. That's 520-494-3283. The Arizona City Veterans Coffee Club is 8 to 10. Coffee and donuts, and a nice group to chat with every Wednesday, 8 to 10. And you know, Ron, I know you go there quite a bit. Is there anything coming up? I haven't gone this week. I was out of town.
Yeah. I didn't go yesterday, so I honestly can't tell
They have
you.
anything coming up. The Eloy Veterans Center, I went there a couple of times last week, and it looked like it was closed. So we've been talking about meeting veterans. So if anybody wants to donate maybe 4 hours a week, I think we need veterans at the Eloy Veterans Center. And Santan is a kind of a newer group on the block. And they have a monthly coffee and donuts, weekly and monthly Veterans Center socials. Coffee and donuts the third Friday of the month, and then they have card games. They have a women's veteran first responder group that meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. And they're at the Santan Valley Veterans Center, which is over on Hunt Highway. And last but not least, this is just recurring, but if a veteran needs help, there's a crisis line. Dial 988 and press 1. So if you need help with anything, any kind of emergency, call 988, press 1. And I'll turn it over to you.
So there is one event coming up on July 23rd. It's called Bringing the Outdoors In, and that's the Sonoran Desert Hands-On Program, and that's for families looking to escape the summer heat or find casual weekend activities. And that's July 23rd from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at the Coolidge Public Library, and July 24th from 1 to 3 at the Kearney Public Library. And I just want to mention, I know it's way early, but the date has been set for the Pinal County Stand Down, and that will be November 21st this year.
Just before Thanksgiving.
That's right. They pushed it from October to November because they've had to move it a couple of times, so it was just voted on to be moved to November this.
Next to the Pinal one. But
That's right.
If that one comes up, that would probably mean there's going to be, they seem to have a lot of these around the same time of the year.
They'll start popping up everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have anything else.
So can I jump in and just finish one
sure.
thing?
Go ahead.
If you have a family member or a veteran that you know, and you see these signs, I want you to be aware of what may be going on. Check with them, okay? Sudden changes in mood, depressed or sullen demeanor, the sudden dismay or distress that they have is so horrific that they get very protective about what money they have left. So suddenly, for a family member, we see suddenly they're intensely defensive and protective of their financial transactions. Those to me are a key clue that something's going on. Do what you can to help your friends, right? That's my encouragement. Stay sharp, stay vigilant, protect yourself. I'd love to go over living trust with people. I'm not a lawyer, but I enjoy that. Monitor everything and communicate everything. That's, to me, the clue.
Let me ask you
Thank
this.
you.
Would you be willing to give your number out for people if they think they have a problem with a scam or a hack, that they could call you up and get your advice?
Are you? No.
No, you wouldn't.
John, call Dr. Day and he'll get you in touch with Ron.
You can email the show
Okay.
and you can get back to me.
All right. We'll do it that
That's a
way.
good idea.
So that's a
if
good
you're
idea.
having a
Yeah, all right.
problem,
Well, that's fair. Well, that's fair. Well, you know what? My father always, not my father, but my ex-boss said you can always ask.
Yeah.
So if you're having a problem, we need help, email us here at
That's right.
Voices of Valor Radio
Because we care.
@gmail.com, and we will get in touch with Ron and get back to
we
you.
do, because he's a knowledgeable expert on the subject, so that'd be good. Okay. I get one more line, and then I gotta remember, I shut my mouth and not stuff like that. So my line is,
Well, you got it. Thank you, Ron, for coming in today and being a part of the show with us today.
Thank you. I
You're very
enjoyed it
helpful, and
immensely.
we appreciated spending the time with you.
so my line is, Voices of Valor, I'm Dr. John Persico.
And I'm Heather Honecker. You've been listening to Voices of Valor Radio, real talk, real resources, real stories. Thank you for listening. Until next time, stay strong and stay connected.